Yeah, sure. So first of all, this is my first unconference activity, so I'm just trying to get a deeper understanding of what an unconference activity and engagement looks like. But also, as I studied the messaging last night in Discord, and I saw this particular activity about deep learning, um, that's compelling to me. One, I'm not quite sure if we mean like deep learning as a planet or as a community, like how we can kind of build into our culture the transformations we need to achieve in order to, not destroy our planet. But also, like I'm in this point in my own personal journey where I felt kind of stuck, so I'm like doing everything I can to achieve deep learning, including like I've really taken up Buddhism lately just to kind of like try to change the way I think. So I'm that that's what really pulled me in today. I hope that I hope that's the right way to think about what we're about to do.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing, David.
Yeah.
Anyone else would like to go?
Yeah, I would want to share that I feel um, more energized and fulfilled by having this unconference moments to chat, to discuss ideas and produce things. It's the end of the year. I didn't really have much of this for, I don't know, at least one semester or even the year. So it's good to feel like the fellowship I took once at Kernel, and there's room for serendipity and all that. So very creative space, and learn a lot from seeing the format, the pre-unconference circles, and the process in between. So thanks a lot. Very happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you. Max in Asia, would you like to share as well? Also, if not, we can then now start after, if you prefer.
Well, I'm looking at the things you're sharing on your screen, and they look so nice, just amazing, like eye candy. And yeah, like I guess deep learning as a service to the community is very much needed. Thanks for stewarding the whole circle.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I was about to say the same, Luis. Looks nice. Looks nice. The word to be used for this session. So go ahead.
So cool.
Just navigate it. Just
Amazing.
navigate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh, cool. So I can already start like bringing a little bit like of what was first of all my thought about like bringing this kind of like session to the to the conference, and then talking a little bit about what it is. So taking a step back, I think learning is something I'm quite interested in, and I've been quite interested in observe how I learn, for instance, from my personal experience. Um, and I've always been kind of like trying to think about like how we can do some more of these together, and then to see like what possibilities that can open. So basically, I see these unconferences and kind of like conferences and unconferences both in real life or also online, like this, for instance, and some really good spaces to connect with other people and to exchange information, to sometimes connect areas of work, areas of interest that may not be so connected right away, or that some other people may not know. And it's to me like really interesting to see what discussions it emerges out of that. And I've been interested in seeing how we can capture some of these discussions and some of these learnings, and how can we with like while we discuss, learn ourselves, and everything, and use that for our personal development and collective as well. How we can also record that and leave that open for other people to facilitate the same process for other people as well. Um, then recently, I've been reading this quite small book that I don't really have here. That is what I saw, heard, and learned from Agamben. And it was quite an interesting book to me because it's basically just a series of really small observations of things and what were the learnings of that, as some kind of personal journal, basically. Uh, and I've been interested in seeing if I started, for instance, doing that, observing small things that I see every day, small like thoughts that I have, and so on. Like how could I, yeah, have a better understanding of like these observations and how I learn from these things, and then taking to a collective level again, like how can we then have this shared experience and basically have like record these learnings and everything, and leave it to other people to yeah, see as well. So that's basically it, kind of like the context of today's session. I got I've been stewarding the learning circle of the conference, and basically there we got to start a little kind of activity in that way. And as I said, basically the session today is basically yeah, kind of an evolution of that. So basically, the invitation that I do today is basically to for us to have some time to see a couple of either reflections that have already been added in the previous sessions, see some topics, some prompts, questions, and then have some time and space to reflect on ourselves, and then to add basically what reflections we have of these things, or maybe some things that we've been thinking about lately and we'd like to share with others, or like see how others would see that as well, and basically start adding that to the board, and then we all see together what's kind of like being formed there. And then afterwards, like after doing the like board fun thingy, I yeah, I'd also like to invite everyone if they'd be interested in minting the reflections on chain, because I think it's an interesting way to kind of take like take some of the concepts and the tech that we talk about, we discuss, we develop, and so on, and see how we can apply that to small things, and how that could be relevant somehow. In that case, how can we take the blockchain that is kind of like so central for the space, and use that as basically a space to record our reflections and have that exactly like that open space to share with others as well. And yeah, uh, until now, like any comments, anything. The idea is like for the session to be pretty open. So if you have anything, just feel free to like open the mic and interact with me or anything. All good. Cool. So basically here, there's just like the from the tips of how like to design an experience from Max and Pecco. Thanks a lot for that. It's a really useful guide. I shared the link on the chat. Highly recommend it if you're planning to host an experience. These are basically like the scenes, roles, and moves that we have for today's sessions, for today's session. And the scenes is basically the Figma board that we're like interacting with now, and the NFT on Trezor, where we can add our reflections on chain, as I was mentioning, Trezor, basically to a comment mechanism they have. And basically the roles is me as a facilitator, and everyone as a participant, and basically the moves. So what we'll be doing is adding reflections, connecting with the reflections of others, and also like discussing all of this, and then minting them on chain afterwards. So yeah, I think then we can start right away the activity. Again, any questions until now, or all good? Cool. So basically, here on this board, what we have first, we have here some instructions for the activity. So yeah, what are kind of like the steps that I propose to follow. But I think most importantly, if you have like if you see like anything on this board that you like resonate with or that you connect, feel free to do anything on it. So feel free to bring some new sticky notes right away and add it to the board, or like do some stamp things. Here we have, if you're not so familiar with Ficten board, here there's some tips of how to use it. And yeah, so basically here on this kind of like little sticky notes tree, we have the reflections that we added in the last learning circle session. So yeah, some of these are already from Diogo, Max, Inesi that were all there in the session, so you can already connect with that. Here we have some open prompts. That is basically some questions or like some statements that basically added there as an invitation for people to reflect upon, and that could be like a way to start like some of our reflections. And yeah, and then here we have a space for new reflections. So then basically the kind of journey of the experience is we could have some 5 minutes to go through a little bit the board together. Then again, if you already have any reflection that you'd like to add, feel free to add in the sticky note, like anywhere. I just asked you to add a sticky note in a different color from the ones that are already here, so that it's easy to see what's new and what was already there. Also to explore the prompts here. And then basically also feel if there are any questions or anything that you'd like to share with other people to discuss and everything, feel free to add some additional here. And yeah, so shall we begin with the 5 minutes to explore to go through like the this part here, and then we have 5 more minutes on the open prompts. Any questions? Anything? Cool. So I'll add a little timer here. So basically, in the last session that we had, we started from the point like what I learned from, and then started like slowly adding some reflections of our own, and then basically connecting with others. Would anyone that was already like in the session before like to talk a little bit about them, or also maybe like already add some things that maybe you're thinking? Okay, so here I really that's a part I really liked, kind of like how there were like so many reflections on nature. I'll start adding some on my own, and then yeah, feel free to explore and add some.
Luis, could you please send the link to the Miro once more in the chat, please?
For sure.
Thanks.
There it is.
I was really curious to try this Figma gem features. Thanks for giving an
Yeah, I really
opportunity.
like it. You're welcome. To be honest, I started preparing that on top of the one on Miro, on top of the one that we used on last session. But I'm already quite used to Picture board, and I really like some of the features. So in the end, I decided to move it out here. Oh, so is there anything that you would like to share? Like any reflection that you added? Or like any observation about the reflections that were already there? Okay, so from my side, I basically continued from some of the reflections that I added last week. Actually, the week before. No, yeah, last week. Not sure actually. Anyway, so basically continued on some reflections that I added about observing nature, basically. So added here that from nature I learned about the importance of observation, because if you stop, if you stop for a while to observe nature, at basically any scale, like it may be like in a big landscape, and then you can see like the big things kind of like moving, animals moving, like the trees kind of like moving with the wind and everything. But also like if you see like on a small scale, like if you take a look at like a piece of soil, basically, you can see like how the like insects like moving, like building their tunnels and so on. So it's quite interesting, like how you can find things if you stop for a while and observe. And then like how and then as you notice the importance of observation, like how can we bring that to everyday life, to everything that we do, like how do we observe what's going on in our cities, in our communities, in our work, and try to understand like how it relates with everything else. um, and yeah, from observing nature, so kind of connected, yes, and follow up from observing nature. I learned about the importances of about the importance of cycles to life, um, and yeah, and then from there, I kind of reflect on how we can integrate more cycles to the things that we do. How can we be, for instance, I think that's like a big kind of like mindset somehow. To kind of like the big mindset of having to be like productive all the time and always kind of like growing and so on. But how can we be more like have more be in a way that is more like a cycle. So for instance, be okay when we are maybe not so productive, and to observe what we can do in the spirit of the cycle basically, and how like different things can fit with each other. uh, Anything else? Would anyone else like to share anything? uh,
I included one, Luis, but I couldn't decide where to place it, so I placed it like between two things, between
okay,
mindfulness and seems to be like between mindfulness and nature. I'm not sure because, for example, I practice where I do this earth journaling activity, and I consider that's a way of practice mindfulness, and at the same time it is part of understanding the nature of my thoughts and decisions, everyday decisions. So that's why I consider I, it is like a in between.
cool. Thanks for sharing. um, and I think it's like interesting to select the connections between things, and yeah, a lot of times like things will be won't be like in a specific category. And yeah, cool, thanks for sharing. Anyone else would like to share? Or um, yeah, and just a small thing, I would like to ask everyone to change the color of the stickies that you added to a different one, so red for instance, so that we know what is new. Uh, and yeah, would anyone else like to share as well? I see there's some from David, from Diogo.
Trying to change my sticky color and talk at the same time.
Sorry, feel free to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wrote. Let's see. My current journey starts when I got sober in 2002. So I was in a pretty bad spot, and then there's like this moment when you get sober, and it's a new beginning and it's awakening. And if you do a recovery program, it's very spiritual. Um, and that has definitely informed my journey to where I am today, and it relates to all of these things. So at the bottom of my drinking, I was sleeping in the woods. I was quite connected to nature. Um, but then when I got sober, I started practicing meditation and mindfulness in the woods. So I would sit next to a tree and meditate, and and then and since I've been on that path, anytime I have the opportunity to do um, what you have described, which is to really be in nature and observe, like from the smallest bug to the pattern on a leaf or whatever, it really it takes me back to when I was a kid, when just everything seemed like a miracle, you know. Every time I could go out into the woods, it just, it just blew my mind, even if it was just the ordinary Connecticut woods, not the jungles of the Amazon or anything, just some trees and some dirt. I just was, I found that just so, like so miraculous. And I think that's a good energy to reconnect with. And then if you put all that together, the reconnection, rebuilding, awareness and something beautiful and healthy um, out of doom. So the bottom of I was, pretty close to killing myself at the end of my drinking, and then from that really dark place, I have been able to, rebuild a pretty good life, an amazing life. It kind of like gives hope for the work that I do, and that I think that we're all here to do. We're in a pretty bad spot as a people, as a species on this planet, but in the cities where I work and in the natural places where I think most of you work, there is great possibility to take this moment of despair and use it to motivate us to just reach a whole new level. So that's what my sticky pads are supposed to say.
Thanks a lot for sharing it.
Yeah, I've, I've been thinking on this, and now reading another uh, note here, like how digital connections can facilitate IRL ones, and yeah, even before Web3, I experienced uh, these digital connections in networks for like couch surfing, you know, this old school, like even Napster, you know, the peer-to-peer collaboration and what it can reach, in the yeah, it was like in the 2000s, Napster in 2010, volunteers building my house and planting my land. So what internet connections can do is amazing, even in Web 2 and now in Web 3 with the transparency, with the immutability, and and many other aspects. It's very I'm very optimistic about it, and in the sense of creating impact, actually uh, understanding a holistic, systemic view of impact that involves housing and involves food. I think the basic needs of anyone, and yeah, we are digging or opening, trailblazing this trail in the food realm. But I'm looking forward to see a housing DAO that, yeah, reforms old houses and builds new ones and interacts with the plot in a long-term and integrated way, not just gardening or mowing yards and things like that, but having succession and multiplication of genetic uh, diversity. So in, very interesting to have the opportunity to uh, make sense of this and see the entire process and the categories that emerged right, Luis? Because they were not like decided by you, right? They emerged from conversation. So it's nature, it's internet collaboration, it's nature, mindfulness, the previous experience, what I do, and the teaching and learning environment. So yeah, it's amazing to see how these categories emerge, and so the importance that they have for us, how we value them. So very, very content to go through this with you.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, thanks a lot for sharing. There were some really, good insights. Would you? I think there may be like some cool things to like try to put some in some of the notes. Would you like to have some additional like 2 minutes to add some here? What do you think? Maybe a little reaction.
If I have some more.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that in into nature, as nature, as the environment, as the house. So I will add a housing note here to this nature thing, real quick.
Go. Also, how good here. That I think as a last kind of like kind of invitation here in the part of in this part basically of like gathering and thinking about reflections and so on. I added some prompts here, some questions, some citations to basically first to go through and then see what reflections may emerge out of them. And also, I think it could be interesting. I added some additional notes, like bank notes here, And I think it'd be interesting to have it as a space that where anyone who would like to share any questions or like any thoughts with with the others to basically add things here so that we can like have 5 more minutes to reflect on this and see basically of what can what comes out basically. I'll put some more 5 minutes here on the timer. And then, I'll be going through on the screen here, but feel free to go through on your own. And already, as you have like a reflection, just add notes around. Cool. Would anyone like? I see there are some notes here. Would anyone like some additional time? And also, would already I see you added some here, David. Would you like also to talk a little bit about it, or?
Sorry, too many tabs open. I couldn't. um, talk about what I stuck up there. Sure. Well, okay. So we're trying to do this. We're playing around with a couple of. Oh, I'm sorry. How do we integrate our purposes with everyday life? So I I think it is a problem of humanity that as young people we are indoctrinated to know that to understand that we've got to go out and earn a paycheck, and then we're forced to decide how we're going to earn that paycheck at an age where our brains aren't fully developed and we haven't had much experience in the world, and then we may end up in a rut and a professional rut, and then there may be personal stuff going on, trauma in my case, addiction, um, and maybe there's some bad relationships along the way. Anyway, um, one can find oneself in a place that is painful, and you're questioning what life is all about. And for me, the way to get out of that was I had to find like a bottom that just forced me to just change everything and rebuild from a pretty blank canvas. So that's what that means. I don't suggest falling into addiction to change your life, but just realizing that it may take a spiritual moment to change everything, every way that you think and react with the world to end up with a life that feels like your personal values are integrated with your work. I have a feeling some of you young people on here like realize that right from the beginning and don't need me lecturing you on it. Um, as for the work that we do, so we're rebuilding pretty traumatized neighborhoods in an American city, and we are playing around with tech tools as best we can. We're pretty under resourced and scrappy, but we're building systems and ways to record our experiences all across the board. So just everything from construction project management to community conversations to building co-op governance tools to property management, financial management. Um, we're building all that stuff and we're trying to build it so that we can share this with other communities in our city or other cities around the world, so nobody has to start from scratch. If they want to start rebuilding a neighborhood, we can offer a few basic tools to acquire some properties and to start and to run that renovation project, and then let people learn from our experiences or to tap into our brains when they need to. But even more powerfully, they can then contribute to the learning, right? So it just becomes like this crowd brain of how do you fix broken cities. It's like one giant human brain that can be accessed in any city at any time that wants to do this sort of work.
Amazing, thanks for sharing. Also, I'd love to hear some more of the projects you're working on. If you'd like to share, like if you have anything like to share, and I'd love to check out some more.
Now, or you want to talk later?
Maybe do you have any link that you can share?
Link.
Or
Yeah, I got some links. I'll put some links in the chat. Sure.
cool, and then we can also afterwards connect about that. We don't have so much time now in the session, so then we can like start wrapping things up. Would anyone else like to share some of their like thoughts, like with the prompts and anything here?
I just want to be thankful for David's openness. And sorry, I've been like not so active, have a bit of a headache, but I'm overall really liking the conversation.
Amazing, thank you. Cool. So I added some here. Yeah, connected to some of that. But I think we can now, as we have 7 minutes left, go to the last part that is basically mining some of these reflections on chain. And yeah, this new part added some things here of like how that could be like interesting. And it's basically like taking some of the like mm, advantages and kind of like benefits, like things that that the blockchain makes possible that are could be relevant for learning and for like knowledge sharing and so on. That is like the points of permanence, transparency, and then authenticity. How it can be used also to build communities, like to yeah, have all this common knowledge that communities already have and have been like developing through their shared experiences and living and so on. And how to build like a bridge with that, and yeah, like a digital bridge kind of to have it stored. And also the as one of the points is that yeah, the blockchain is really good with immutability and like storing things, how it can be a medium basically to store knowledge for others and for future generations, for instance. And yeah, so let me share my screen here. I'll share here the link to an NFT that I minted on Zora. And I found recently I learned recently about the capability of adding comments to an NFT through there. Amazing. Thank you, David, for sharing. And I was basically interested in seeing how something kind of quite easy as like adding comments to an NFT can already be used as a way to easily to easily like add things on chain, add pieces of reflection of knowledge, for instance, on chain. Let me share my screen here. I just shared the link of the NFT page on the chat as well. The NFTs on is an Optimism and it's free to mint, other than the minting fees. So if you'd like, feel free to mint it. And as you do so, there is a, let me just share my screen and I can show the process. So here's the NFT page, and then yeah, basically here it is. It's just this piece of text, what I learned from. And then every time it's open for people to mine for free, it's open forever, basically. And then every time someone mints the NFT, then people can add their own comments here. So yeah, that's basically an interesting way that I saw of adding things and pieces of reflection on chain. So as an example, I'll add something there. Let me see. So here. And apparently I don't have enough ETH and Optimism to do so.
Hey, is that the link to that page you are?
Yeah, exactly. It's on the chat.
You need some meat on the.
I actually do have some that should be enough to cover the gas fee. I'm just not sure why it's not. Sometimes there are some technical issues.
Find the link.
Okay.
Okay, good.
yeah. Anyway, but that's a process basically, and once you mint NFT, then you can you basically the comment shows here. And one thing that I was like thinking still, like there's some, yeah, how there could be like how we could develop some easy kind of on-chain machines to basically like collect knowledge. So first of all, like to have a space like this, like on the blockchain, where people can like easily add like reflections, pieces of yeah, things with others right away. And then how this could all be interconnected. So from instance, let's say like once this like fills up with comments, we can see like what are some kind of like categories that emerges from reflections, and then have another NFT minted where people can add like more, expand on that knowledge, and then with that basically like branch out the knowledge that is added on chain, and see how some easy like mechanisms can yeah, drive forward the adding and like expansion of knowledge basically. And I think that's it. So would anyone like to like add some like final comments or anything? This is like the part of the meeting the reflection on chain is mostly an invitation, so it's there if you'd like to do. And yeah, if you'd like to some help with anything, also feel free to bring it up. And yeah, would anyone does anyone have any other comments on like things, reflection, like last reflections that they'd like to share?